114. All over the world, people are shocked to watch on CNN the returned American President Trump rapidly destroy huge parts of congressional and executive government that supported modest people's income, medical care, and diversity, equality, and inclusion programs, simply aiding minorities to be treated as fairly as the far more powerful and dominant race. Most are incredulous and appalled that he cut off all American food and medical aid to 120 countries where hundreds of millions of disaster-prone lives depended on it. Unless Congress and the courts stop him, he will fire or retire 70,000 employees from already severely short-staffed Social Security and deny many millions of feeble oldsters the right to telephone for payment problems assistance because he claims that they might be thieves pretending to be valid recipients. Next, Trump has ordered 100 of the offices they'll be forced to visit closed, so millions of those who cannot drive will just lose their payments altogether. All the more loot available for his millionaire and billionaire cronies' tax breaks. Never mind that 50 million old suckers paid into this retirement program since they were 20 to get support in their 70s and 80s, without which many will have nothing for food and shelter. Congress should stop him, but his private campaign ad fund will defeat them with primary opponents if they dare. Courts should stop his law-breaking, but his captured Supreme Court might support their dictator king, immune from all prosecution, instead of the Constitution that every government officer and judge swore to uphold and defend. The empire builder draws up military plans to invade and capture Panama, Gaza, Greenland, and Canada. He schemes and acts to coerce Ukraine's surrender to or defeat by his dictator invader pal, Alexander Putin. He tells national audiences that no more federal elections will be necessary by the end of his second term because obviously our maximum permanent leader will thereafter choose himself. Most of us think surely this monster is the rare total aberration until normal, decent democratic leadership replaces him. Unless he achieves his goal of total government and citizen theft and unending dictatorship, of course. No, we fail to see Trump simply surfing the giant wave of history, his story. 10 millennia of patriarch kings and their modern war business inheritor despot equivalents all raised giant armies to rule inside and outside their nations while handing their small upper-class cronies most of the nation's power and riches. Top 1% patriarchs have never stopped hammering to death every religion's God's top 3 commandments. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, and love thy neighbor as thyself. Trump and his architects launched his democracy death rocket 10 times faster than courts without guns and Congress without independence can possibly stop. Perhaps an aroused, enraged, activated population can both galvanize and vote out today's paralyzed Congress. If we fail, if you fail, King Trump will wrench most U.S. government people's aid dollars, not buying the Pentagon's guns and bombs, over to his over-rich buddies. Many of our trillions of dollars flat stolen from congressional laws. That murder and robbery stands two people, the 114 speech crazy man and you. Multiply us both, or Trump and the other horrors that I demand our laws to fight and defeat will kill, kill, kill. Instead, let's stand up, kick world despot ass, and build our loving new world. This spring of 2025, millions of Americans are angrily swarming town halls and streets, shouting out against Trump-Musk theft of our critical citizen-assisting government. Anger without a plan. Exactly why you and I must work for new law. 10,000 years of pretty please behave got us what besides laughter and murder? First, pull in and blow out a big calming breath against our anger. I believe that his stories, many thousands of Trumpian aggressors and abusers, were and are not originally heartless and evil. Everyone grew up in a militarized world fully designed mainly to make the rich richer, the poor poorer, and the commander-in-chief's might the ultimate right. Major law is twisted to the overpowerful's lawless thieving opportunities, further rewarding greed, furthered by violence. Most cultural education, rarely contradicted by public or humanely religious schools, teaches national, racial, and religious bigotry against inferior nations, races, and beliefs. We're then encouraged to identify and select victims already attacked by our propaganda teachers. Family lovers practicing living care, equality, and respect for all too seldom expand their universal loving truths beyond home, relatives, and neighborhood into their public governments. And partly bigoted religions trashing human love for exactly opposite oppression of lower classes, different races, other religions, and foreign flags. Actually, many public activists do demand family love become government policy, but most all appeal for new benevolence while imagining that the same old laws of the jungle will permit kind, voluntary retreat of thieves left their tricks and warriors left their weapons and armies of mass destruction. Survey every reform that ever succeeded. 100% achieved new law that not only guided helpful public care, but also flat blocked harm with fully sufficient and coercive enforcement. Good new law is built by teaching decision makers the history of public abuse without it, and the ignored, violated existence of constitutional and treaty laws that already order our necessary humanity. Our every constitutional right to peace, unless our legislators declare war, and general, not special interest welfare, and everyone's equal power as right, not purchase. All human rights remain dying or dead until the World Treaty, already ordering steady work towards nuclear and conventional disarmament, is obeyed after you sue for it. And private gifts to politicians are 100% banned after you sue for that. If you don't believe me, then survey the 50% of world nations that crush democracy with oligarchy or one-man dictatorship. Everyone destroys citizens' rights with big money and big guns. Many periodically allow temporary return of modestly representative government, but their failure to flat outlaw with enforcement, military, and financial government coercion always invites tyranny's return. My theme never varies. National and world treaty law, we win to keep every government our friend, never again enemy that steals from, abuses, and kills us. I failed to finish my recent discussion of aggressors far less evil than just encouraged to take advantage of public weapon and corruption opportunities. This heartless corporate power over government system develops, guides, and encourages leaders evil to achieve the proffered victories. As you work for humane laws and human rights, first envision bribery denied governments, allowing only loving public servants good care of us always, never again for their tax-thieving, war-making, law-wrecking cronies. Family lovers have always had biological blood and mate impetus. Only our best laws, though, can make ever corruptible to excess power abuse public leaders instead decent followers of democratic enforced constitutions already written to protect us from tyranny by requiring us to disable it in advance. 0% of this will happen until you and I assault the world war industry with peace law enforced by economic embargo of national weaponeers. Try eating your bombs after we cripple your top stock market 100. Not my idea. 3 scorched earth military aggressors, Syria, Russia, and Iran, are today foundering against such sanctions. My vision is the bottom 170 nations ganging up on the 25 worst weaponeers and warriors. His story is armed robbery of our rights, money, and lives. Our story that you love have ever begun since you care for and love others. You will truly boom and live when you go public to advance disarmament and protection of our rights, all under our love laws, thoroughly built and fully legally enforced to win, baby. I never stop yelling about our competitive fight to victory. Please understand what all too few do. Human love become rule of law is not good karma or ethical persuasion to achieve peace and well-being. Peace and human rights are war. Public citizens' legal war fought for and legally, financially, physically, politically enforced. Weapons only killed 1 billion after the invention of military and financial politics featuring a deliberate lack of law against excessive, abusive power. You must outlaw attack weapons and private bribery of candidates and leaders. Dictator Trump's power flows directly from his 100% control of his Republican Party's primary congressional elections. His private hundreds of millions of TV ad dollars will end the career of every underling who dares to protest or vote against his theft of American government. 300 million were war killed in 110 years because weapons companies bought politicians to steal 1,000 times those bribes from our taxes delivered to Murder Incorporated in order to keep their jobs. while millions of power players abuse us citizen masses, and 500 million of us perform jobs in the harmful, inhuman military machine. I don't believe that a single one was born evil or intends hateful mistreatment of others. Most punch out, go home, and love their families. Archaeologists report that 100% of prehistory's unearthed human skeletons had zero human weapon damage, despite tens of thousands of hunters' big game kill tools available. Double Y male chromosome aggressors, genetic human empathy deficiency, bipolar and paranoid schizophrenia disorders all regularly distorted a small minority of humans' behavior for Homo sapiens' 2 million year existence. But organized war and tyranny only burst up during the last 1/200th of human loss, not gain, of civilization. Suddenly, with farms' population explosion, hunting clans of 10 exploded to army-led human hunters, tens of thousands. Different races, religions, and armies 50 miles away excited human instincts to fear and attack different others, imagined enemies like predators known to jump on and kill human children. Military dictators invented money to use, hoard, and steal for a myriad more powers not directly won at the tips of spears and swords. Our last 250 years attempted democratic overthrow of kings, but the reformers neglected to outlaw armies and government leader and candidate private bribery. So weaponeer and other company financial coercion destroyed many democracies with theft and war tyranny. Prisons are full of double Y chromosome hypermales addicted to rape, assault, and murder. But the very same aberrants killed no one for 2 million years because they did not live in sick, large power societies that encouraged and rewarded easy aim and pull the trigger, total aggression. Your treaty must fill the world with love, education, and healthy economies, and eventually get rid of 1 billion damn guns. Military war shit first. My effort is my 60-year obsession with the group of laws to enforce humanity before military and environmental doomsdays end us all very soon. So many of us are angry at those who abuse power. Aren't they just thieves, hateful and hurtful? Most of us victims are loving and helpful, but denied public power for our own good, safe lives. I propose that we also blame ourselves and try to understand the sick system's bullies. How many of us, over the 10,000 years, while war killed 1 billion, worked for disarmament? While politicians were paid to give our taxes to weapons makers, who among us noticed this main cause of war and demanded of leaders, take only our taxes for your pay and publicity? Of the millions who listen to religion, racial, and national boosters tell us all unapproved, different others are inferior and evil and should be abused and killed. Of those millions who heard this, who countered? I'm going to start a school that teaches love every human on earth as equal, deserving, and good until they prove different. For example, you nasty, stupid, wrong bigots. Who saw a world of governments encouraging public evil opportunities and said, I'm going to promote the opposite, loving laws to end our abusive, warring opportunities? Who noticed that God promotes love of all, but his only coercion, promise of heaven after death, does nothing to make us behave on earth by living laws? Shouldn't they and we have realized God gave us the human power to enforce public, not just family love? Ain't it my job to go public with these absolutely holy reforms? Who needs my worship and help most? An already invulnerable almighty Lord? Or endangered people I could steer from hate to love with God's rules on earth, designed to end the evil temptations of bribery and weapons? Donald Trump's father, Fred, had a nasty real estate career influenced by consorting with New York City mafioso that lived by robbery and murder. His son learned the sick game and invited Russian mobsters to launder their stolen money through Trump Tower apartments. Then Vladimir Putin indebted and his KGB probably sex film blackmailed Donald Trump to encourage Russian intervention to help elect him president twice and massively serve Russian military interests against America's that he has done every single day since. Then enormous $500 million Elon Musk bribery of second-term candidate Trump compelled him to steal Americans' tax trillions for billionaires. Yet the same Donald Trump loves his sons and daughter, demanding that each stay healthy by avoiding drug abuse. And the moral of my stories of men not originally evil, but manipulated by lawless environments to abuse far and wide. We must spend our next 4 years, Americans, constraining Mr. Trump's abuse of power by legally removing his and all corrupt, overarmed leaders' excessive power with court and Congress power enhancement to slash leaders' fatally absolute power to just the correct, humane, democratic, constitutional, lawful, peaceful amount. Your victories will not necessarily defeat and retire every leader coerced to abuse the public today. Some we might guide to act for decency with better controlling laws. Make 'em offers they can't refuse. Most of the 20 billion people who ever lived found full lives of joy helping others, exactly as God made us for. Good news. But here's the bad news. God is not even 10% almighty. He manages to neither control men nor remove their power opportunities to fall from good to evil. Much as he'd love to deny their every chance and temptation to harm others, he just ain't got the loud voice and physical iron-gripping hands to make 'em, much less the ink pen to write the lawsuits. Well, somebody does. With every almighty human ability, he gave his ultimate agents of active love. And who dat? You love.